Have you ever felt like a woman looked at you, but didn't really see you? You were there, present, talking, smiling, doing everything right, or so you thought. But deep down, you could feel it. Her attention. It was somewhere else. And yet, you've probably seen it before. That one guy, maybe he didn't say much, maybe he wasn't the best looking, but somehow she couldn't take her eyes off him. What was he doing that you weren't? The truth is, attraction doesn't start with what you say. It starts way before that. It begins with something deeper, quieter, something most men never learn. In this video, I'm going to show you the difference, the subtle shift that separates the forgettable from the unforgettable. And by the end, I'll give you one silent move that changes the way she sees you instantly, without you having to say a word. Stay with me until the end, because I'll also reveal the single most overlooked behavior that quietly activates her. Emotional memory, the kind of thing that keeps you on her mind even when you're not around. And if you've ever had that feeling, that sinking moment when a conversation dies, when her interest fades, when you just disappear in her mind, drop a number 1 in the comments. I want to know who's really here, because what we're about to talk about could change the way you connect with women forever. Let's get into it. The real reason some men are unforgettable. Let's bust one of the biggest myths about attraction right now. It's not about how you look, how much you make, or how smooth you think you are. Sure, those things might get a woman's attention for a moment, but they don't create real impact. They don't leave a mark, and they definitely don't keep her thinking about you long after you've left the room. Here's what actually does. It's how she feels when she's around you. That's the real magnet, not your words, not your car, not your job title. It's your energy, the tone behind your voice, the calm behind your eyes, the confidence behind your presence. It's the way you make her feel safe, seen, curious. Think about it. We all know that guy. He's not loud, he's not flashy. Sometimes he barely says anything, but when he walks in, the room shifts. People glance his way, and women, they notice. Why? Because his presence says more than any words could. He's not trying to be liked. He's not trying to be anything, really. He's just being fully himself. And that authenticity is magnetic. While other men try to sell themselves, he offers peace. While others are performing, he's simply showing up with stillness, with self-respect. That's what women remember. That's what makes her miss you before she even knows why. The high-value man doesn't have to prove who he is. He already knows. And that knowing, that grounded, relaxed certainty, that's the part that sticks with her, because most men try to impress. But the men who truly impress are the ones who don't try at all. The energy she feels before you speak. You can say all the right things, but if the energy behind your words feels off, she'll feel it. Women are wired to read between the lines. Long before you say a word, she's already reading your body language, your tone, the way you carry yourself. You don't need to be a mind reader. But you do need to understand this. She's not listening to your words. She's listening to your presence. A man who's grounded in himself, who's not performing or posturing, instantly stands out. It's in the way you walk into a room. Slow. You're relaxed. It's in the way your shoulders sit naturally, not forced. It's the calmness in your breath, the quiet confidence in your gaze. That energy? It speaks volumes, and it tells her everything she needs to know, without you needing to say a word. You might think you need to open strong, impress her with your story, or charm her with clever lines. But the truth is, the tone of your voice, the way you pause, the space you leave between your words, all of that is what creates tension, mystery, and interest. Your presence becomes the music before the lyrics. It's the feeling she gets when she's near you. 1. That says, this man is sure of himself. And when she feels that, she leans in, not because you dazzled her, but because in a world full of noise, your calm felt like peace. And that's what she remembers. Why silence can pull her closer. Here's something you may not hear in most advice for men. You don't have to fill every silence to keep a woman interested. In fact, most men ruin their own attraction by rushing to fill every gap in conversation. They talk too much. They joke too hard. They scramble for the next thing to say the moment the air goes quiet. But here's the truth. That silence you're so quick to cover up. That's where the real connection lives. Silence isn't awkward unless you're uncomfortable with it. To her, a man who can hold stillness without fidgeting or nervously cracking jokes is a man who radiates confidence. Let me share a personal moment with you. Years ago, I was out with a woman I'd just met. We had a good rhythm, conversation, flowing little smiles here and there. Then I paused, not because I ran out of things to say, I just let the moment breathe. Maybe 10, 12 seconds. She looked at me, tilted her head slightly and smiled, this soft, curious smile. She didn't rush in to speak either. She just stayed there with me in the silence. Later, she told me that moment was the most intimate part of the night. Not the words, not the laughter, but the pause. She said it felt like I saw her. That's the power of silence. It gives her space to feel, to wonder, to lean in. You see, still water reflects beauty better than ripples. When you allow silence to exist, you're sending a powerful message. I'm not here to impress, I'm already enough. And in a world of men who can't stop talking, the one who can hold silence becomes unforgettable. Because silence in the right hands is not emptiness. It's magnetism. How emotionally steady men win her respect now. Let's talk about something deeper, something that doesn't get enough attention, but changes everything. Emotional strength. It's not about having a hard shell or being stoic, just for the sake of it. Emotional strength means knowing how to respond instead of react. It's about having the maturity to stay grounded, even when things get unpredictable. And let's be honest, women will test you. Sometimes it's subtle. She teases you, pushes your buttons, or pulls back just to see what you'll do. Other times it's unintentional. She's having a bad day, she gets distant, or her mood shifts suddenly. Most men, they panic. They try to fix it. They get defensive or overly emotional. But the man who stays calm, the one who doesn't flinch, doesn't fold, doesn't try to control her emotions, that man earns her deepest respect, because when she feels emotionally safe with you, everything changes. She doesn't have to be perfect around you. She doesn't feel judged for her emotions. She feels held, not in a physical sense, but emotionally. And that's something rare. As we get older, we realize something. We don't chase storms. We become the shelter. You become the calm she can come home to, not the chaos she has to manage. When you show emotional steadiness, you show leadership. You show patience, you show strength. And whether she admits it or not, that's what every woman longs for. A man who won't be swayed by every wave, who can remain steady when things get messy. So next time she tests you, remember, she's not looking for you to win the moment. She's looking to see if you can hold the moment, because women don't just want to be heard, they want to feel safe with the man who's listening. And when you can offer that, she sees you differently. She respects you more, and she lets you in a way words could never reach. One simple phrase that changes everything so far. We've talked a lot about energy, presence, and silence. But what happens when you do speak? There's a phrase, just 2 words long, that can change how a woman experiences you. Not because it's clever or flashy, but because it reveals something rare in a man, clarity and direction. The phrase is, I want. Now I know that might sound too simple to be effective, but here's why it works. Most men speak passively. They say things like, want to hang out sometime? Or, maybe we could do something if you're free. Compare that to, I want to take you out this weekend. Feel the difference? One sounds uncertain. The other sounds intentional. I want is direct, but it's not aggressive. It's confident, but it's not controlling. It tells her exactly what you're thinking, but without pressure. It's not about making demands. It's about being honest, clear, and bold in your intention. Here's how you use it. Speak it calmly, look her in the eye, let it come from a grounded place. I want to get to know you better. I want to see you again. I want to take you somewhere special. When you speak like that, something shifts. You become the man who knows what he wants, and that's incredibly attractive, because women aren't drawn to indecision. They're drawn to certainty, to leadership, to emotional truth. And I want is the kind of phrase that cuts through all the noise and shows her exactly who you are. So don't be afraid to use it. Use it when it matters. Use it when you're clear, because sometimes the most powerful thing you can say is simply what you truly feel. What she feels after you're gone, let's talk about what really sticks with her after the conversation ends. It's not the clever thing you said. It's not your resume, your job title, or how much you bench press. It's the feeling you left behind. Women don't remember the exact words you said. They remember how your presence made them feel in their body. It's the emotional imprint you leave that keeps echoing long after you've walked away. You may think she's analyzing your story or your timing, but really, she's remembering the moment you looked at her and didn't flinch, the moment your calmness helped her feel calm, the moment you held a pause instead of rushing to fill the space. That's the moment that stays with her. It's not the joke, it's the pause before the punchline. It's not the compliment, it's the stillness in your voice when you said it. We live in a world full of noise, fast talkers, fast scrolls, fast dates. But when you become the man who slows down, who listens without rushing, who speaks with care, you stand out. You create contrast. And contrast is what creates memory. A man who rushes through a date is forgotten before the door closes. But a man who leans in, listens fully, and walks away with quiet certainty. He lingers in her thoughts. She'll wonder about you. She'll feel something she can't quite name. She'll talk to her friends and say, there was just something about him. That something was emotional weight. It was your restraint. It was your ability to make her feel like the only person in the room, even after you left. So don't chase being impressive. Chase being present. And let your energy do the work after you're gone. Because if you make her feel seen, if you make her feel safe, if you make her feel special, she won't forget you. She'll replay the interaction like a favorite song, not because of what you said, but because of what you left her feeling. So here's what it all comes down to. You don't need to be a man of many words. You don't need to perform, prove, or push to get her attention, because real attraction, the kind that lingers, the kind that stirs her emotions long after the conversation ends, comes not from what you say, but from who you are when you say nothing at all. It comes from your calm, your stillness, your self-trust. She remembers the man who didn't try to impress because he already knew he was enough. She replays the moment, not because it was loud, but because it was real. So as you move forward, remember this. Be the calm in her chaos. Be the pause in her noise. Be the moment she replays over and over. And if this message hit home for you, if you're still with me, comment "still with you" below. I read every comment, and it means the world to know who stayed until the end. And if you're ready to stop being forgettable and start being felt, subscribe, like this video, and let's grow together. This is just the beginning.